What's good, y'all? You already know what day it is. It's Sue Me Sunday, and today might be a sensitive topic for some, but hey, man, I want to speak on this anyway. So, I guess my question is, why don't people keep the same energy they try to portray or they try to tell other people? So if you're out here telling people to live life a certain way, but you're not living your life that way, stuff like that. Like, for example, if you loan somebody $50, you loan them $50, and then they owe you. They never paid you back or nothing like that. But then they go around preaching to people how you should not like borrow money from people, or you should always pay your pay somebody back on time, repay your debts, do right by people, stuff like that. But they out here borrow money from people. They might have borrowed $50 from you, $50 from they could have borrowed $50 from 50 different people. Who knows? But my point is that they'll be preaching one thing, but they living their life another way. Or they could be getting over on people, but they trying to preach this, certain image. And it's like, why are you trying to give off this certain image, but you don't live the image you trying to portray? I just don't respect that. You know what I mean? And I don't like when people do that. Because I guess for a person like me, I try to give off the same energy, and I live the life that I'm trying to give towards people. And I guess that's one thing I really admired and respected about Malcolm X. It was like he always can admit when he was wrong, and he always admitted his shortcomings. So he never tried to pretend to be perfect. He never tried to portray to be perfect, but he just lived his life as best he thought he could. And you could see the progression over time, how his mindset changed before he was assassinated. So you could just see, like, and I guess that's my thing, is like I want to constantly grow and progress and admit my faults, my shortcomings, but at the same time try to be better, strive to be better, and teach other people and give knowledge to other people to become a better and the best person they can be. Even if no one's gonna be perfect, but at least you trying and you working towards it, and that's all I can try to do. And I want everybody to try to do the same thing. And my problem is when people try to do stuff like this, but they don't actually try to do better. Like, for example, somebody trying to give you like financial advice, but they in debt. You know what I mean? Not even like debt, like, oh, I went to college or something like that, or oh, I got a mortgage. They in debt because they maxed out their credit cards, or they got a paying a $600-700 car note. Ridiculous stuff that like you shouldn't even be doing. But they trying to give you financial advice, stuff like that. And we're not even talking about like I'm talking about like like middle aged people, older people, like when they giving like terrible advice and stuff like that. But I'm talking about all age range when it comes to the advice part. But I'm saying an older person can be trying to give you advice on something, and they don't even have their own stuff together, and they not even working towards getting it together, but they trying to tell you what to do. And I get it, if you gonna give somebody advice, and you know you not doing right, then I respect that. If you like, hey, I'm not doing right now, I don't want you to make the same decisions I made. Be better than me. Do this, that, and the other. I respect that. But if you out here on some, do this because this is a good what you should be doing, but I don't be doing this but they don't even acknowledge they don't be doing it themselves. They try to act like they trying to do it too, but they not doing nothing. You know what I mean? Basically like how people joke about Clubhouse. They be like, oh yeah, get you an LLC, it'll do this, that, and this, you could do this, that, and this. But like these people who giving this advice, half of them not even making money like that, but they trying to give you this advice on doing something. Stuff like that. When people giving you half-assed advice, but they not actually following their own advice that they giving, or they not even striving towards working on it. They just giving you, this advice just because it sounds good. And that's my thing. People who give advice because it sounds good, I have an issue with that. Because me personally, all the advice I'm going to give, I'm working towards doing it, and I'm putting in the work to do it. So it frustrates me when somebody else trying to say or speak on the same things I'm actually doing, and they not doing none of it. It's just frustrating. So I just wanted to speak on that. It's y'all opinion, what y'all think about that. But that's just something, man, that I just see a lot of, and it just bothers me because like people do a lot more talking than action, and it just frustrates me. And it's not even, it's in all aspects of life, like you, for example, a pastor will preach about God, praising God, living the word of God, but then in the church and in the congregation they out here judging people if they not dressed a certain way, if they a certain type of person, if they don't fit into this certain image of what the church wants for you, then they out here judging people. And so it doesn't make sense how you supposed to be a man, like, God, like they said, God's not supposed to judge anyone, as long as they're living a life towards, respect, praising him. You're not supposed to judge nobody, right? So why would you judge someone who maybe they don't have the nicest clothes, they can't afford the nicest things, and so they might not come to church looking the best because they don't have the most. But now we got people at the church judging them, and this is stuff like that I just can't respect, and I don't like it because it's like you're not living what you're trying to portray. You know what I mean? And that's just my whole thing. It's like, just be consistent. If you're not the best person, just, make that be known. Don't try to give off this perception like, oh, I'm perfect. I have no flaws. I have no faults. But then you out here doing underhanded stuff and shady things behind people's back or talking about people behind their back. You know what I mean? Just different stuff like that. I don't like the inconsistency of people and their personalities, the way they act, the way they treat people. I don't like it. You know what I mean? And it goes for every aspect of life when it comes to, even dating or whatever it is. People they just don't preach the same things that they want. And, even when it comes to dating, people be like, oh, I can't find a good person. I can't find somebody that, I want to be with. And it's like, but you're not giving forth that energy to be with the person that you want to be with. You know what I'm saying? So if you out here like, oh, I want someone who's committed to me, giving me this much effort, giving me this much energy, you should date a person like that. You should be with a person like that. But you don't give people that type of energy. You don't give people that type of effort. How do you want to expect to be with somebody like that when you don't even give that type of energy and effort to someone that you're dating? You know what I mean? Just different stuff like that. And people be like, oh yeah, give this positive energy, or communication is the key, stuff like that. But then you don't communicate with anybody. Different stuff like that. It's like, I just don't like when people, and that's my whole thing. People do this, they contradict themselves, then they wonder why things aren't right in their life. And this ain't even about I'm trying to belittle anybody. I'm not trying to comment on. I just want people to have self-reflections and self-awareness of the things they doing and the effects that it might be having on their own life. And I personally had to have reflections on things and wonder, if I wonder why certain things ain't going right or why certain things ain't working, I have to reflect and realize what part of it is about me and what part of it is other people, and it's granted it can be 50-50. Yeah, it could be other people's fault while certain things are happening, but at the same time it could be a lot more of your fault than you realize. And I had to have that reflection, at times about certain things in my life. And so I just want y'all to realize, how much of stuff that's going on in your life is your fault versus how much of it is you just trying to find a scapegoat and put the blame on other people, And it's just something I was thinking on today. I want to speak on. Let me know what y'all think, though. But it's just the issue that I just have with people because they try to portray this one thing and then they do something else. They live in a different life, or they constantly frustrated on things that's going on in their life, or they understand why certain things are going wrong for them or whatever, but they not actually reflecting on the things that they doing or not doing. You know what I mean? And I just want everybody to kind of reflect on what's going on and how can they be better, and make sure you actually living up to what you telling other people to do, and the perception you trying to give off. Are you actually living up to that perception, And that's my whole thing is that make sure you living up to your expectations that you trying to set for others. Make sure you trying to live up to those expectations, and you just not out here just speaking out your mouth, you know what I mean? Or speaking out the side of your neck, as they say, Make sure you actually live in those things, because a lot of people don't. They're not living what they saying. And it just bothers me that a lot of people don't actually live the things they try to portray or the personalities, the persona they trying to put out there. And, like I said, for me personally, I'm just going to work to be that best person I can possibly be. And I hope y'all do the same thing, and just have that self-awareness like, oh, hey, maybe this why it's not working out for me. Maybe it's my fault. Maybe I need to do better. maybe I need to do something differently. Just reflect on the things that are going on and try to figure out what can you do to improve on those things. And as I'm saying, it's always going to be, no one's going to ever be perfect, but just figure out those things that you can do to make improvements, what you can do to be a better person. And that's what I'm going to do every day. Try my best to be a better person than the day before and learn more than the day before. That's all you can do. But just make sure you're doing those things, because a lot of people aren't. And another thing is, a lot of people are complacent, you know. And you can't be complacent, like, oh, well, this is what it is, That's just the life I have to live. It's like, no, that don't have to be the life you have to live. You could have a way better life than this. It's all about the expectations you set on yourself and you actually working towards those goals. And that's the thing. A lot of times we don't really sit down, set goals for ourselves and, know what we're trying to get to. So make sure you're doing those things. And don't just be out here like, yeah, if you're trying to be this, if you're trying to be a millionaire, you just got to network with these right people and network with that. And that's the thing. It can work for some people. But like they always say, though, it's 9 different ways to skin a cat. So it's many different ways you can become successful. There's many different ways you can do different things. So just because one person tell you one thing, that don't mean it's the right way. That's why I don't never say this is how you got to do something. It's many ways to do stuff. Only thing I advise people to do is not spend their money ridiculously so that they have emergency funds, because that's the only thing I'm worried about for some people, is that they spend their money so crazy that stuff like COVID, when stuff like COVID happens, they don't have nothing to fall on. You know what I mean? And so that's my only thing. Just make sure you have emergency funds for yourself. But outside of that, man, live your life, do what you want to do, find out what makes you happy, find out what makes you the best you, and do that. Just be great, man. But just make sure that you really do self-awareness and self-reflection on what you can do to be better. And hey, even realize, maybe I burned some bridges that I need to mend. You know what I mean? Because you could have messed up and really realize, hey, this bridge I burned, I shouldn't have did that. Reflecting on maybe friendships you messed up, certain things that you might have felt like you could have did something differently in order to not ruin that friendship or that relationship or whatever it may be, that partnership, whatever it is, business, whatever. Make sure that you reflect on those things and see what you can do to, if you can, mend them if you need to, or realize, hey, man, maybe even let that person know, hey, man, I thought that was wrong, man. You want to, I think you should kind of, apologize, or I feel like, you didn't do that right. You should have did better by that. And, just have those type of reflections, conversation with people, and just do what you can to be great, man. That's all that's all I want to say, man. Y'all be great. And yeah, man, let me know what y'all think about that, though, because it's very interesting to me how a lot of people just give off this persona and like they all knowing, and they just live a completely different lifestyle than the lifestyle they portray. And I just don't get it, man. And it's like, how can you give off this persona, but then you wonder why stuff don't happen for you? It's like, but you're giving bad advice, or you're not giving bad, it ain't that they're giving bad advice. You're not living up to the advice you're giving. So it's like, why do you think these things are going to come to you when you're not doing those type of things for yourself? And that's just my whole thing. It's like, make sure that you actually giving off the energy that you trying to tell other people or you trying to portray to other people. As they say, keep that same energy. But man, y'all be great. Sue me all day. But man, I just love my people and I want to see y'all be great, man. And nobody else rooting for you. I'm rooting for you, man. Sue me. Y'all be great out here. One love.